name is Sarah Marriott, and today I'll be talking about Chapter 20 and how basically Chapter 20 relates to my job and how it relates to BMCC, the CUNY, and the restructural frame. First of all, Chapter 20 was mainly about a guy named Mr. King, and Mr. King went into a new school and decided to reconstruct it because the school wasn't doing so well after its first opening. After the first year, it wasn't doing well. After the second year, it was doing even worse as far as kids fighting, as far as teachers quitting, as far as security issues, as far as basically a lot of stuff academic-wise, as far as attendance. It was just issues from top to bottom and from bottom to top. Mr. King went in with his previous knowledge and his previous background experience and tried to change the new and restructure it. With that, he used a lot of reframing and framed the four structural frames. How he used structural, human resource, he used political, and he used symbolic in order to reconstruct the issues that the school was having and try to kind of find the deeper problem in it. Earlier, Professor asked about icebergs, and with this, I kind of realized why he asked that, just because people only saw the tip of what was happening. However, when he went into the school, he saw that it was a way stronger underlying issues of the problem. And he saw that it began from deep at the bottom and the beginning, which is the core, and the core is the staff. Because without the staff, obviously, there is nobody to educate and there's nobody to kind of frame the school. And if that frame at the bottom is rotten, then you don't have any core basis to actually hold everything together. Mr. King went in and he saw that there was weak goals. I'm sorry, I'm looking at some notes. He saw that there was weak goals. It was unclear. There was no human resource basic needs to be met. Poor conflict management. People feel disempowered. Political House Department conflicts. He saw the symbolic issue, that there was no history, no ceremony. It was no real core like foundation built for that school. It was all, everybody was working separately and not together to have a strong foundation, like I said, for the school. As far as for my job, I believe that the post office, it does have some type of structural things. However, because management does not treat everyone equally and does not treat everyone as how can I say, as humane as possible, it kind of put a negative effect on the employees, as to why a lot of the employees coming in as CCAs, meaning new carriers, they leave after not even their 90 days of probation. So that says a lot about how management kind of build or mold their newcomers to kind of want to stay. Kind of want to stay and actually, continue with it. And then it makes the people who've been there for years and had an actual core and who had a vision of being a postal worker and thinking of it as a good job, and then it just deteriorates. That notion that they had before of the job and the postal service, it just all evaporates. The senior, the seasoned carriers, the ones that have been there for 20, 30, 25, 30 years, are also ready to retire more than ever, when we don't even have a retirement age or a rate limit. It goes unlimited. They are basically over it because we eventually have had manager after manager. I've been there for a couple of years and I've already been through 4 managers. I feel like that says a lot about their structural core and them not being able to break it down and seeing what the actual issue is. And by doing that, they're not coming to the workers, who are us, to actually break down and see what is going on. As far as that, with BMCC just had 2 new people. They hired Mr. Emmanuel and they have Mrs. E. Walks, and those people basically are going to go in and restructure the frame. I haven't been in BMCC. Well, I have been there for long, but I have not been back to school for about, I want to say 10 years. However, like approximately, almost 10 years. And me coming back and coming in at a time where it's only online, I have not seen many of the changes as far as in school and as far as how administration is run, how teachers, how the library, things of that sort. So, but when I was able to see it and going to school back in 2013 and those times, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't horrible from my point of view. I didn't know what the underlying issues was at the time because I just went to school, did what I had to do, and left. It could have been as far as structure-wise, so waiting on lines and things like that, it could have been managed easier. Libraries were okay, tutoring were okay, but it wasn't the best. Hopefully with these new people that's taking over for the structural, to reconstruct everything, they will be able to have a better way of doing things and making the school better. From taking over at a time like this, the pandemic, I feel like so far everything is new, and that's the problem. A lot of things people don't prepare for. It said in the epilogue, it said in the epilogue, I should have that underlined. It said in the epilogue that basically people don't know how to take something that they don't prepare for something that's for new. They just stick to the old ways of doing things, and sometimes that's not always good, and that's not always the case because times change, things change, people change, and change sometimes is bad and change is sometimes good. However, when change is needed, it is needed from a fresh and new perspective of mind. And I think that goes back to chapter 20 and how that kind of ties into the new minds and the new ways of doing things, and kind of, like I said, breaking down those 4 structures and having all of those elements implicated into building something better for the school and building something better not only for the staff but for the children, for the entire entity. And they reflected this school chapter, and it can easily be applied to a business. It can easily be applied to life situations, and just sitting down and jotting and not just jumping in, but sitting back and jotting like he did on his notepad and seeing and breaking down what the actual core issues, like I said before, were, instead of just looking at the tip of the iceberg. So I do feel like this piece on chapter 20, when he's tying everything, the entire book together, it does reflect on, not only does it reflect on my job, but also on CUNY and their new system as well. So yes, thank you.